Rural America. From it springs so much of what we value as a people. Our natural resources, and many of our cultural traditions, and core values. Rural communities can draw upon broad and deep assets that have enriched us all. Yet many rural communities face daunting challenges to their health and vitality, and have yet to feel the uplift our economy has generated elsewhere.
We just kind of see RCCI as a catalyst for change, and a lot of people are catching the spirit.
The people of RCCI, the Rural Community College Initiative, believe in rural America. The RCCI is a network of rural community college leadership teams committed to honest self-assessment and the highest goals and expectations for students, for the college itself, above all, for the community. Our goal is to build the region's economies and increase educational opportunity for everyone. RCCI is committed to economic development and improved access to education, inextricably linked to equity and excellence. The following program is part of a video and print toolkit series designed to communicate the mission and the method of RCCI, using community colleges to transform rural economies and the prospects of their people. Most rural community colleges are, by their nature and mission, regional institutions serving broad and often diverse service areas. Community colleges are also traditionally charged with helping to create jobs as well as training people to fill those jobs in their regions. Rural community colleges are often the only institution able to mobilize the human, informational, and physical resources necessary to facilitate regional economic growth. In the past, economic development was often interpreted narrowly and locally. We'd say that my town or my county had certain natural resources, land, and cheap labor, and then try to market these assets and recruit new, too often low-wage branch manufacturing industry. But traditional approaches have not always generated sustained development in rural America. The mandate for a new way of doing things is being issued by increasing international and domestic business competition, fueled by innovations in technology and telecommunications. This creates both new opportunities and new challenges for every local economy, rural or otherwise.
Rural areas can definitely be competitive globally if they have a niche and if they have a real competency that they can market. And you see this throughout the world, that some of the most successful industrial districts, industrial clusters of Europe are in rural areas. Areas that have specialized but also been innovative enough to maintain their edge against the competition from the emerging economies and lower priced areas because of design or because of special production capabilities. So I think you can definitely develop a competitive advantage, maybe not on a general basis, but in a specialty.
And so the community leadership teams of RCCI are coming to realize they must think regionally to generate growth that is lasting and has the power to benefit even the most disadvantaged residents.
Because they lack the skills and the preparation. And then on the other hand, we have people who are prepared in certain areas that they can't find jobs.
By working with nearby communities, a region's competitive advantages can be identified and developed. The RCCI holds that the rural college is one of the few community establishments neutral enough to bring together leaders from the varied stakeholders in a region, mobilizing them to identify common values, set goals, and build a development agenda. Such a team should include leaders from the business, government, education, agriculture, community organizations, and other relevant constituencies.
As colleges think about playing a larger role in economic development, they have to be aware of who else is there. I mean, one of the advantages of the community college is that it has a sort of a wide range of expertise and experience residing in this single institution. But there's other institutions too. So if there is, for example, some kind of an extension office of the College of Engineering that's providing technical assistance to manufacturers, it's important to work with them, not to compete with them. So you have to know who the other players are. Rural areas often have less access to these other services, which is one reason that the community colleges have to play an expanded role.
The team needs to generate useful data depicting the current state of their region, its assets as well as weaknesses. The team needs to understand how their regional economy actually works. How do information and transactions get exchanged? Who are the players, including small businesses, which rarely have the time and resources for collaboration and training? Then comes the important process of picturing the future of the region through a data-based, values-based vision that holds in sight the importance of education and the needs of the region's most disadvantaged people. The new lens of a regional perspective should permeate this process and stress collaboration, not just among businesses, but among all sectors in all towns and counties of the region. This new collaborative approach may even include agreements with neighboring community colleges to specialize services. The critical new question is, what can regions offer collectively to remake themselves to be more attractive in the marketplace? The answers, often abundant answers, can be surprising. Let's now consider one example of thinking regionally. Western North Carolina is the home of Handmade in America,
For the first time, we went over $104,000 in sales.
an initiative that seeks to preserve and enrich the region's quality of life while also expanding its economic opportunity.
Handmade in America is a regional community project where we have pulled together people from all over Western North Carolina to look at the issues dealing with crafts and how we can promote crafts in this area, to the benefit of the craftspeople as well as all the people in the region.
By focusing on the region's craft-related resources, Handmade emerged as an alternative to the state's industrial recruitment efforts. Although North Carolina led the nation in industrial expansion and relocation, the state's 21 western counties attracted very few recruits.
From the years 1989 to 1992, there was not one new manufacturing facility recruited in Western North Carolina, whether it employed 5 employees, 10 employees, or 200. And we began to determine that probably we needed a different approach, that we realized that we were certainly a faint echo of the state's industrial recruitment program.
To launch its different approach, Handmade issued an open invitation to all citizens to participate in the planning process for an economic development strategy based on crafts. More than 360 people participated in this process, which included the formation of various task forces and more than 30 meetings at different sites across the region.
And I signed up for the Economic Development Task Force because I figured that there would be no craftspeople on it. It would be all the business types figuring out how they could make the most money. And I have to confess that when I first heard about this, I was extremely negative and skeptical. I said, oh good, they want to make a Dollywood for crafts. They want a theme park. And I was quite wrong. On our task force we had a couple of bankers, a mayor, people from every economic development council in the various counties, Chamber of Commerce people, and business people in general. And I discovered right away that although we didn't have quite the same vocabulary, they kept calling what we made widgets or product, we did share the same concerns. What we all cared about was the quality of life in our region, and we didn't want to see anything happen to diminish that.
So we started out and said we want to be a very different organization. We want to be an entrepreneurial nonprofit, and we set up guiding principles rather than bylaws and articles of incorporation and all those things. The guiding principles are really simple. One, we're inclusive. Everyone in craft is welcome to our table. If you are a hobbyist just learning, you're just as welcome as that one-of-a-kind professional glass designer. It's regional, 21 counties. Our board is regional. We meet all over the region. Our work is regional. We're community-based, and everything we do is in partnership. We can never do a project ourselves, ever. Our funding is in partnership. We often write grants in someone else's name. It's their funds. We don't care.
And the concept of Handmade in America was not to create a new agency or a new bureaucracy, but rather to look at those already existing craft-related institutions that were already in Western North Carolina and do something to enhance them, to do something to bring attention to those organizations, and to give them the tools for aiding and enhancing themselves.
One particularly helpful tool is a study that identifies the vital role played by handmade objects in the economy of the 20-county region served by Handmade.
Handmade in America has done a study. It's an economic impact study in Western North Carolina. $122 million comes into this, to these people's pockets right here in this state from crafts and crafts-related products. And this tells our state, and it tells the nation, that this is not a hobby. This is something really special that we have going here.
Handmade is also partnering with private philanthropies to improve the region's workforce development and physical infrastructure. One initiative, a downtown revitalization program, involves small towns like Andrews, North Carolina, with populations of less than 2,000 people.
I was born and raised in Andrews. I've been working there as Chamber of Commerce Director for the past 3 years. And right now, I am on the Handmade Board of Directors and working with a revitalization program called 4 Small Towns. We started with a steering committee, and we've put together 24 people who work in subcommittees to bring about beautification, to help with the economy, to try to boost the stores and the businesses there, and to try to bring people into the town. Handmade has come in and reached out and picked up the people and the expertise right in the town and helped us to run our own revitalization program.
Another program, the A+ Schools Initiative, involves Handmade's partnership with 4 elementary schools in the region. Working with the aid and collaboration of state and private agencies, Handmade is exploring a curriculum that uses arts and crafts as a teaching tool.
We can't make something like craft or art important in a region unless we're reaching the children, that are growing up in this region. We as craftspeople realize how important craft is in learning, the process of learning craft, the process of working with your hands, with materials, with manipulating materials. It brings about all sorts of problem solving.
Handmade is also collaborating with local crafters, community colleges, and craft institutions to promote business development and workforce training. At Haywood Community College, for example, they're developing a database that not only identifies artisans and describes their work, but also helps these people make connections with customers and suppliers. And even more important, this craft registry recently provided much of the information in Handmade's popular publication, The Craft Heritage Trails of Western North Carolina.
The heritage trails are driving trails throughout the mountains of Western North Carolina, where a visitor can take one of these books, and there's essentially a map that directs you to craftsman studios, to bed and breakfasts, to galleries, to shops, to scenic areas that are within that loop. And the visitor gets an experiential vacation from that process.
At the same time, Handmade is helping to put more artisans and shopkeepers along those trails by partnering with institutions like the Self-Help Credit Union and the Community Development Bank.
Becky Anderson with the Handmade in America program approached me to help do the lending for some of their crafters. She had talked with several banks and they weren't interested in the project. And in the partnership, we decided that they would do all the marketing, they would go out and seek all the people, they would do all the initial legwork, and we would act as the lending entity. The program has gone a lot better than we had anticipated. We probably have about 6 different loans to crafters that we've done currently. We're anticipating more for the year, and we look for a great relationship with Handmade.
In addition to promoting the region's small businesses, Handmade is helping teach crafts and business skills to novice and accomplished crafters alike. In this case, it's partnering with Mayland Community College and the world-renowned Penland School of Crafts on a new entrepreneurial crafts program. While students learn business basics at Mayland, they attend Penland for an intensive 2 or 8-week course in their chosen craft. Yet the program also welcomes those who need a more flexible schedule.
Tamara Curlin was in a situation where neither one of those options at Penland was really viable for her. She's got 3 children, a very supportive family, but time management was a real issue for her.
I asked if it would be possible for me to do a one-on-one session once a week in the evening, because that would fill in my time better than going for an 8-week course at Penland, which was impossible with children in daycare. I wanted to start off on the right foot and not fumble my way around for a couple of years and lose money. I didn't really know what craft I wanted to start in to begin with. And when I looked around, I thought that the basketry was the most feasible for my income, my family, the size, the equipment, something I could do right away and not wait till they were in school.
I need to have you here more often.
We were very lucky to have someone like Billy Ruth Suddeth. Billy Ruth Suddeth came through and said, well, sure, we'll take Tamara on and we'll support her in an apprenticeship.
And it was sort of, I won't say a hassle, but an inconvenience to start with, because I would have to clean up my studio or make room for somebody else. And for about 12 years, I'd been a one-man or one-woman operation, if you will, and never had anybody in my studio with me and didn't really think I wanted to do that. And her enthusiasm the first night made me know that it was going to be all right, that she sort of had that passion, which I think to do crafts you've got to have.
And that third option for those students has been very exciting. As a matter of fact, my class of about 25 now, over half of them are interested in the apprenticeship.
So we've worked out through this whole job trainingship partnering with the community college in Penland an apprenticeship system, which has really not been done before. And it's turned out very well.
I've been able to send my oldest son to Montessori school, pay for it through this program with the money I'm making baskets. My business name is going to be Junebug, Books, Baskets, and Baby Boys. And it's been good for my children to see that mom has a life beyond being a mother, and that women can be moms at home and still have their own careers and their own outside interests. And when I sold the first basket I'd ever made, it was really nice to see the look on my husband's face when I told him I could make money at this, and I got what I wanted, so that's good. And it's an empowering thing.
And as time went on, and she was learning some of these skills and techniques I was teaching her, I realized that it was an opportunity for me to perhaps expand my business. I turned down orders for years on some of my production pieces just because I couldn't do it all. So the first thing was Tamara helping me fill a large order for a gallery for Christmas. And she did so well with that and in a timely manner that an opportunity came, a major marketing opportunity. So I took Tamara and involved 4 other students that were studio assistants up here and taught them how to weave this object as well. So we, in essence, formed a cottage industry, and all of us benefited. The people involved paid their heating bills this winter. One lady bought her first television ever. Another person got carpet for her house. And it was really sort of like a domino effect because they got the carpet locally. So not only did they make money while I was making money, but they provided money for the local economy. And if you made a list, there was probably, before it was over and done, maybe 30 different people up here that were involved in this small project.
While Handmade continues to pursue other innovative approaches to regional economic development, many see its value in larger terms.
This was not an economic development strategy based on crafts alone. What it was, more importantly, was a community development strategy, and it was a way of assessing what the strengths and resources of our community are and best utilizing them to the benefit of the largest number of people in the region.